is melted by the many-colored death at the break.
Yeah. Now it's live audio.
I did go
Good.
I did go to Burning Man.
If any of you live listeners did hear something during the break when the mics may or may not have been muted, I'd just like to say I regret nothing.
And I'd just like to say it was all Brandon's fault.
It was all my fault, and I don't even feel bad, not even a little bit.
And that's totally endorsed by the Republican Party of Texas.
And for some reason or another, we've got no live feeds. So.
Oh, no.
So you're faking it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all right. Let's drink some beer.
Hang on.
Yeah. Hang on.
Not hang on.
Okay.
Do we-
He's got a,
do we have
a text?
Hang on.
Oh,
Do we have-
I hadn't even started the recording yet, so
Hang on.
we're all
Oh, so we're not even back yet?
So we don't have live audio either.
Yeah, we don't have.
So we're just sitting around jerking ourselves here.
Motherfucking
Hey.
titty sucking 2-ball bitch.
Keep your hands above the table.
That was live though. Thanks a lot.
No, it wasn't. Stop it.
It
Dude.
is. It is.
You can't fool us, sir.
Listen, man.
I don't care how low our rating on Uber goes.
It's live. It's not
Hey,
live.
hey,
It's
what-
live. It's not live. We're not recording. We are recording. It's live. No, it's not.
We're live.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Hello, Facebook.
Again, I regret nothing. I stand by all my previous statements.
Although that might have been the first part.
And that sums up the map of where we buried all those tie hookers.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right.
So a buddy of mine is
So are we back or not?
Yes, I believe we are back.
We are.
We're back.
It says we're
Man.
streaming on Facebook. And,
Trained professionals.
A buddy of mine has
there's
asked
an
if he
oiled
should
machine.
Every time.
change his Patreon donation from the topless chick for dental school to actually come and Brute Radio.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
the answer is no.
I think that's a good idea.
There you go.
Just FYI, I would like to do a shout out to the patrons. That thank you guys for donating to our cause here. Because if it wasn't for that, this wouldn't happen. So.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We
guys.
really do
Yeah,
appreciate
definitely.
it.
And we do have some special things lined up for you guys later this year.
All right.
Some
Well,
spatial
if we're doing shout outs, we're doing one for my dad. One, he's 75 today. Two,
Happy birthday,
Nigel's dad.
he taught me most of what I know about beer. And three, he bought a lot of what we were drinking tonight as well.
Oh,
So-
thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Man, that's the
Dad.
trifecta there.
We need to send him a nice present.
He actually
he
came
gets
here.
to
and
see me every now and then. That's more than enough.
He came here and,
Such a good
and never
English
said
fun.
one word about how much of a bunch of a-holes that we are. So not to us directly, anyway.
I got to say, he told me.
Because I would imagine from Nigel would just say it to us. So I figured your dad would too. You
Oh,
know.
you're all
Seems like-
a-holes.
Oh, thank you.
Bunch of bollocks.
All right, so this beer I really do want to keep to myself.
Oh,
Oh,
which
that's
one
too
is
bad.
this?
Oh,
This is-
I
You already
want
showed
that
it to
one.
us.
You can sniff the lid like everybody else.
You can sniff my lid
All right. Yeah.
What does that mean?
in British.
You get to sniff the lid.
Sniff the lid and polish me plums.
That's what tickles your fancy.
They're not really plums, though. They're raisins.
All right, this is. So we're going to start off. We're going to start off winter beers with not a winter beer. We're going to start off with a typical English ESB,
We're going to let you slide on that, by the way.
just simply
Sneaky,
because it's,
cheeky.
it's Bateman's Triple XB. It's one of the finest beers in the world. I can't get enough of it. I should have bought more beers, more bottles of this back, but it would have stopped the volume of beers I would have bought back. So it's just an outstanding.
Every time you bring this one back, this is the one that I think it. If I found
Oh,
this
it's good.
on a hand pump somewhere, you'd never get me to leave. I would just. That's where I would live.
They would call the police.
So
Yeah.
2 years
And I
ago,
would not comply with their demands.
2 years ago, when
Hello,
I,
but I'm happy here.
2 years ago when I was lucky to get third best in show in Blue Bonnet, it was with a beer that was an extract beer that was based on this. I have yet to be able to recreate it all grain, and I've tried so many times, and I've
Very
got
good.
nowhere near
That's
it.
such a perfect beer.
It
It's
is
so
really,
perfect.
really good, yeah.
Yum-y.
As Stubby said, yummy is correct.
Yum-y, yeah.
With a capital E.
Yeah, with
Double
no-
capitals.
Doesn't have any spices and shit in it.
No, but it's just
So
It's just
angry
full
all
of
the
English
time.
character. It's just
Great.
there we go.
And
I don't know. This is a perfect marriage of malt and hops,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
well
It's
balanced.
absolutely perfectly dialed in.
Yeah.
How big is this beer?
It's about 12 inches high, about 2
Thanks.
inches across.
wow.
No, man, this is 12 inches.
Just the
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's
Shit.
Hand
That
gesture
makes me a
shape
13-inch
size.
man.
in bottles. It's about 5%, I believe. I can't read it on here. Bottles is about 5%. On cask, it's about 4.8. Oh, it's on the front. Thanks, Mark.
3 X's.
Oh my gosh! Does that say 4.8 or 4.3?
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna say if it's not 4.3, then if it's 4.3, then something wrong. 4.8. Now, back in the day, it used to be over 5%.
Right.
It's been cut back a little bit for sale
It
to
tastes
most
like
people,
a 5
you know.
or 6% beer. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but
I'm gonna
very,
buy a big
very, very easy.
magnifying
to
glass
drink.
for the table.
You know, I had a Fuller's ESB the other night. It was fresh. It's maybe the first time I've ever had one fresh in forever. It was over at Magnolia Motor Lounge, which I thought was odd.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuller's ESB is a great beer too.
Yeah. I've never been a big
It's-
fan of it. And the only reason I can say that, I think, is because most of the time it's old.
It's a great beer. It doesn't compare to this though. I don't think
No.
personally.
Yeah, that's
Well, this
a
is
perfect
fresh.
beer.
It's
I think I can say with confidence that of all the beers you brought back, this is hands down my favorite one.
the only one that gets close to me is Adam's Broadside.
Yeah, I was about to say the
Y-
broadside.
yeah, the broadside
Broadside
is
is,
also very, very
know.
good. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Coniston Bluebird's pretty good too.
Yeah, that's
It
pretty
is.
good too. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully what we're going to drink in the next few beers are going to come close to this. We have, as far as the BJCP concerned, we have a commercial example for an old ale. We have a commercial example for a barley wine. We have a commercial example for an English strong ale.
Wow. Okay,
So we've got some known beers, and we're gonna cover multiple styles, and hopefully
Well, that's what's
Yeah,
really cool, I think, too. Going back to last week, is actually being able to drink those off the BJCP, you know, considered to be their style,
Right.
off the style guideline or commercial example. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is how broad they were from a standpoint. The first two that were listed were dramatically different.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
dramatically different.
yeah. So we had the Summer Lightning, which was in your words, I think, Stubby, almost a Pilsner-like beer with
Right.
a lot of hop bitterness, but just
More like,
clean finish.
Yeah, more like most of the hops that I got from a lot of those were more almost noble hops rather
Right.
than English.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second one we had was Exmoor Gold, and Brandon, you like that one too, right?
I did. Yeah, I liked both of those a lot.
Yeah.
That, in fact, I think every one of those British Golden Ales I thought was really good. That was a really nice night of tasting. I
Other
thought.
than
And-
the last couple, they were a little rough, but
Yeah, the last two were pretty rough.
were they? Oh, I don't. I
Yeah,
guess I don't remember that,
was
part.
the loony soup and the
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
lazy sod.
Oh, those
Yeah.
were both.
Lazy
Those were
Salt.
both from
They-
the same brewery.
Yeah, they were the ones that were labeled.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
under,
count
under
those.
license. No, they
Yeah.
they weren't really. You know.
Yeah, those beers inspired me to want to go out and brew one of those because it was a really cool.
What, the lazy
What I
sod?
felt was like no, not the golden
last two.
the
The
golden
Looney
Ales.
Tunes.
It was kind of a
Looney
hybrid
soup.
Looney
beer,
soup.
which I like, kind of taking the best of both worlds. You know, it's funny too. I was listening to something about lagers. I was listening to Drew and Denny's podcast actually today, and they were talking about lager myths and that kind of thing. And there was another beer that they had brought up, and I don't remember which one it was. That was in response to it was that country's answer to Pilsners.
Probably the Belgian.
And no, it wasn't Belgian, because we've talked about Belgian, the Belgian blondes, and
Yeah.
that's what made me think about it. Is interesting that there are so many different
It was Lapland.
countries who have brewed a beer that's in answer to European lagers like Pilsners and that kind of thing, that it's that popular a style and it's that big that everybody feels like they have to come up with something that's along the same lines that but still has their own character, whether it's Belgian or English or American, which is totally devoid of character.
It's got corn in it.
So
Pass it
I just
around,
thought that
Nigel.
was interesting that style of beer is so universally liked that everybody feels like they kind of have to get into that sort of a realm with one of their beers to make it fit. And I wouldn't have guessed that the English would be ones to do it until we did that Belgian Golden episode and thought, well, yeah, okay, here we go. There's another one. So what do we got now?
Sure.
Nigel.
We have the commercial example of an English or British strong ale, which is BJCP 17A.
So the overall impression on this is an ale of respectable alcoholic strength. That's a very relative
Very
term,
English.
isn't it? Traditionally bottle conditioned and cellared, can have a wide range of interpretations, but most will have varying degrees of malty richness, late hops and bitterness, fruity esters, and alcohol warmth. Judges should allow for a significant range in character as long as the beer is within the alcohol strength range and has an interesting British character. It likely fits the style. So that is I don't know if you get much broader
Does that
than
mean
that.
it should come with a small, darkly colored umbrella?
I think I have an interesting British character myself, personally.
So you're a British strong ale.
There you go.
There you go.
And a
The
bowler.
malt and adjunct
Should come with a
flavors
bowler.
and intensity can vary widely, but any combination should result in an agreeable palate experience. So I think it's basically saying if somebody says it's a British strong ale and it's high in alcohol and it's interesting to you, then it's a British strong ale. Yeah. Yeah.
So therefore, the beer I
Is this
served
one you brought
guys
back,
earlier.
or is this one we got here?
This is one we got here. This is Sam Smith's Winter Welcome. I actually bought that here before I went up to England. So
Okay.
I could see having a
Blessing
beer like
of your
this around the
heart.
Fire.
Blessing of your heart, you brew good ale. William Shakespeare. That's what it
Sounds
says
like
on the front.
a southern ladies.
I like this
insult.
beer.
Is
Oh,
that
bless
saying
his
that
heart.
William Shakespeare invented the saying "bless your heart"?
Bless your little heart.
Bill Spokeshave.
And
Oh, that
This
was
is
Bill
really-
Shakespeare.
the South just appropriated it for as a way to
Bless your
insult you
heart.
to your face. and
Bill
then-
Shakespeare.
Bill, yeah.
So some malty sweetness with fruity esters, complex blend of dried fruit, caramel, nuts, toffee, and or other specialty malt aromas. I'm definitely getting that.
Caramel, definitely.
So you guys all had
light
the raw winter warmer clone
Oh, yeah.
that I
Yes.
made
Yes.
in the shop.
Yes.
I could see some similarities to this as far as like not necessarily the color
The Esther character
is very
is
similar.
Right.
Yeah, it's very similar in that regard, and also I think some of the flavor, with the exception of no dark malt or dark caramel malt.
Well,
pass it
the
down here,
malty sweet
Nigel.
fruitiness, a little bit
we'll put it right
fruitiness,
here.
and then the dried fruit and whatnot. You know, I think that comes across in a lot of the British strongs that I've had. Anything that's over, that's bigger than an ESB, more or less. So
My
So
arm
would
is
this-
aching.
So would this be considered a winter warmer?
It's a strong
Yes.
British ale.
Yes, it would be classed as a winter warmer. As far as, I guess the term winter warmer again is an American term, like ESB is an American term. There is a beer called winter warmer. There is a beer called ESB, and it's got picked up over here and been used as such. English winter warmers as such, they're going to be still in the 4 to 6% range. They're still going to be. They're going to be heavier body than traditional English bitters and stuff like that, but they're not going to be specifically high in alcohol.
I wonder what this one would taste like fresh. 'Cause I bet it was a hot bomb over there.
Yeah, probably so.
Because that's pretty hoppy. Or they either maybe over hop it for export.
Well, just like an IPA, right? Back in the
Well,
day.
yeah,
I mean,
just
they'd
so-
overhop it so that when it arrived, wherever it was going to be.
So an interesting thing here, I didn't notice this when I first read it, but immediately under the strong British ale category is this category contains stronger, non-roasty beers of the British Isles.
yeah,
So that goes back to what we were talking about on the last show, that we get hung up on categorization of things, but over there these terms are really just meant to differentiate it from other beers. So this is just saying it's high in alcohol and it's not roasty, pretty much. And then if you fall within that category, and apparently it has to be interesting too, then you got yourself a British strong ale.
Only the
Yes.
character needs to be interesting.
What classifies it as interesting though? However,
Well, that's up to the purveyor.
more character.
you put spices and shit in it.
Okay, well, the whole category holds the British strong ale, the old ale, the wee heavy, and the English barley wine. So, I mean, you compare that against the milds and the bitters and, standard English beers, English brown.
I would say that this is pretty hop aggressive.
There will be no wee heavers here tonight.
I wouldn't call it hop aggressive. It's got hop character to it, but I think probably more along the lines of what you're saying. They overhopped it a little bit just so that when
Doesn't
we
it have
got
some
it,
lingering hop bitterness?
it has some lingering
A little bit.
and flavor too, I think. But I wouldn't say it's hop forward.
But it washes out the, was it Triple X that we had?
Yeah,
Yeah.
triple
It
X
washes
beer.
that one. That makes that
Yeah.
taste thin afterwards and light.
But and what's the ABV on this, Nigel? Oh wait, I guess I have the bottle, don't I? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not absolutely
6%
certain 'cause I was
probably.
drinking. Yeah, I did write it down somewhere. It's 6%.
Oh, it's just 6. Okay,
yeah,
6%.
Because I was going to say this is still real light-bodied and drinkable, but I
Right.
get 6%. That's not hard to do.
No.
That's like a Belgian quad or an English quad. 6%.
Well, yeah, kind of. All right, so the next beer we're drinking is Miller Lite.
Ish.
Right.
All right.
Sea
Oh,
Fury.
harps. Okay.
This is Sharp's Sea Fury Exceptional Special Ale. It's a 5% beer. It is, I believe, the Sharp's Brewery were purchased in 2016 by Miller Coors. Did not know that until after I'd purchased the beer.
Sharps, isn't that what they call their non-alcoholic beer?
No, that's so duels.
No, I think Sharps.
No, there was a
is
Sharps. Yeah,
I
you're
think it's
right. There was.
non-alcoholic.
Well, okay, not in England. It
I don't
is.
think it's been around for a long time, but
I think that was Miller's version of it.
So the brief notes I got on this says aroma of roasted and dark berry notes, fruity, malty flavor, Moorish hop finish.
Moorish?
Moorish.
Is that North African and Muslim?
Yeah.
no,
Not
I'm
sure about
sorry.
the
It's
Moorish
the
part of
moops.
That would be
the
the
moops.
moops.
Moroccan.
Ah.
Yes,
The rest of that works, but I'm not sure about the hop character.
it's a
part of it.
moopish
Right.
finish.
How would you call it? What would Moorish finish be?
Maybe like
You want more of them?
like mossy.
More than boorish, at least.
Boorish.
So.
It's moopish, by the way.
What the hell is moopish?
The moops, you know.
The moops. I don't get this.
Still better than
Were those
Still better than
Muppets?
Miller Lite.
Seinfeld reference.
From the Bubble Boy.
Yeah, it was the moops. The moops.
See, now I get a lot of hop character out of this.
So I remember the it was like Robin Hood, and they had Moors in Robin Hood.
Yes.
It was Freeman. What's his name?
I think those were moops too.
What was the guy that he had the sword and shit?
Little John.
No,
What was the
He had a
guy
sword
that
and
had
took
the
a shit?
sword and
Not-
shit?
wow,
It
shit.
was-
What,
Or he
The
took a shit and
Moors.
had a sword.
what was the
However-
what was the black dude's name?
Hashu.
That's was Robin Hood's buddy in Robin Hood.
Are you talking
Hashu.
Men in Tights?
No,
Hachu. Yeah. Hachu. That was the,
Bless you.
the son of his
Was
the,
it
So-
Dave
the
Chappelle
black
in
guy.
that one?
So we're now.
Yeah.
Oh shit! His last name's Freeman.
name was Dave
I can't think
Chappelle.
of his first name.
Morgan?
Yeah, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, there we go.
All right. All right.
He was a Moor. Don't you remember?
Oh, yeah. I do remember what you're talking about now. Yeah, I do.
They called him. What are you doing, Moor? So I don't know. He was from
It's the
Africa.
place. Yeah, it's where they're from.
Yeah. It was a Northern African
Muslim
Muslim
section. Yeah.
section of Northern Africa.
Yeah. So how the hell is that Moorish
How
finish?
the hell have
He
we
has
got here?
Because you said that beer had a Moorish finish.
I'm just telling you what it said on the website.
Boorish.
How would we know they were Muslim?
He's holding you personally responsible for their
Nigel.
description of this beer. Nigel.
how has a Moorish hop finish come to be a Muslim?
Listen, man,
That
you
was
can't
the Moors.
you can't
sir.
come
No
in here
politics.
and drop plums are actually raisins on us,
Hey,
and
I
then
have-
not expect us to come
I have
after you.
not
over
dropped my
these.
plums on you, okay?
But later,
Well, they seemed like raisins to me, but
Give their time. This is why we chose.
all I'm saying is
alcohol
we're,
for the
we're going to
second
begin to question your native language a lot when you start off with plums or raisins.
It's Moorish. You want more of them.
okay.
know?
Moorish.
There you go.
Okay.
There's
Yeah, I don't
nothing
know.
Muslim about. And
I've never heard that descriptor about anything before. A
Moorish. Yeah, me neither. I don't know.
I think I
That's
have
a
for architecture.
I actually believe.
Well, yeah. I've
Moorish
heard-
architecture.
I actually believe it appears on these notes more than once tonight too. Moorish. of relating to the Moors, a
No, those are the
Muslim
moops.
of Northwest Africa. There you go.
Mark, this is actually spelled More.
Yes, it's spelled differently.
Ish.
Yes.
Like
More-ish.
Morse code.
So maybe that just means like
No.
It's funny. She didn't.
there's a
look
little
Jewish.
more than normal, sort of.
Got nothing
Okay,
but
now we
Brooks
have
references,
now we
sorry.
have the real definition of Moorish, causing a desire for more. These cakes or hops in this instance are
Jesus.
very Moorish. Thank you.
This is terrible.
That's English, dude.
Golly.
We need to learn their language, I guess.
If you're going to drink the beer, you ought to. Otherwise, I can't bring
Personally,
any
I
more
really
back.
like this beer.
Oh,
Yeah, I like it
okay.
too.
So you like Miller Lite now?
I do like Miller Lite.
Yeah, I'm going to
actually,
say
yeah.
you do.
I do like Miller Lite. Yeah, I got no problem
Dude,
with
if
Miller
Miller,
Lite.
It's
if
not
Miller
like all
Lite
of them
tasted
are
like
bad.
this, I would drink it probably.
No, it's actually a really good beer. And
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's got a nice kind of amber body
Yeah.
to it, a little bit of caramel in there.
They make
This reminds me a little bit of Old Speckled Hen.
A little
yeah, I
bit.
can see that.
A little
Yeah.
heavier on the
Heavier.
caramel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and body.
Yeah.
They
Good
make
body.
a best bitter that is very popular in England called Doombar, 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 and it is very popular. They sell a shitload of it.
Doombar
And,
sounds like the name of a big fat sidekick in like some sort of fantasy movie. Doombar, bring the horses.
Post-apocalyptic.
Your imagination's running again with
Oh
you.
yes,
Brandon.
Dr. Jones.
But it's a great brewery. They make a lot of beers. I just didn't realize until last week that they've been purchased by Miller Coors.
Mistake
So the
for many,
food
but
the
it's
food
okay.
pairing for this beer, their suggested food pairing is slow cooked meats. Don't cook them fast or you can't drink it with this beer. Prime steak or Cornish cheese board.
Cornish cheese board.
All right, so
Not the cheese or the Cornish anything else, but
Just
the board
the board,
itself.
yeah.
Mm.
So the beer is
Suey.
brewed in Cornwall in the southwest of England. Okay.
And that's where Cornish game hens come from.
Damn it.
Well, is it?
No.
No.
Well, it might
Damn
be.
it.
It might be, but that's not what we're talking about.
Knife has been broken.
English, something else other than beer that English we do better than most other people. And I'm going to say that, okay, when it comes to beer. The other thing we do better than most is cheese. English cheese is fantastic, and in the southwest of England, the cheese is really, really good. So that's where
So
that comes
good that
from.
it makes the board that it's sitting on
yeah, tasty.
edible and
Yes.
pairs well
Yeah.
with this beer.
So
Yes.
that's what makes you so good at cutting it.
Right.
I have a question, Nigel, and I don't want you to get angry with me for asking this.
Oh, I'm going to get violent.
I have a feeling that's
He's
probably
about
so.
to.
Is Ireland part of the UK?
Which part? Northern or southern?
Ireland, period.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
No, yes. Okay.
The northern part is.
No.
The southern part is an independent country.
Okay, which part has the good cheese then?
Both.
Okay. Because I've never had British cheese, but I've had Irish cheese.
Okay, so Guinness comes from the southern part, but cheese is good wherever in the UK.
Okay, because I've had Kerrygold cheese. and
Even
it's
Scottish
great.
cheese is good. There you go. I said it.
Was
All
it
right.
Cotswold?
I feel a lot of love. in
Cotswolds
this
is
one.
Cows
really
can
good,
make
yeah.
good things that people can't.
Cotswold, yeah.
All right, so the next bit, moving swiftly on, is Marston's Old Roger.
And I think my favorite thing about this is that it's spelled Marston's OWD
Yes.
Roger, and I knew as soon as I saw that it was going to be Ode.
Yes.
Marston's Old Roger.
Old Roger.
Old
Roger.
Roger. Old Roger's over there.
And it is a commercial example of an English old ale.
Okay. Read an old ale.
And it's
description.
7.4%, so if you get
Yeah,
enough
it's-
of it,
it-
you get yourself a Rogering.
Steady. It is pretty
Well,
healthy.
happy, Roger.
Old ale overall
Is that
impression
what they
as
call it
far
over
as
there?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Rogering would be exactly what you think it would be.
All right.
Sleeping with a dude
Like-
named Roger.
Like a Hummer?
That looks like this guy.
If
the
if
look
you
on his face says neither of those.
if you hum while you're getting drilled, then yeah, sure.
All right.
To the hilt,
Looks
right?
like this guy.
That's right.
Old Roger.
Yeah, that guy
Old
looks
Roger.
like it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
17
Right here, maybe.
17B BJCP category 17B old ale. Overall impression: An ale of moderate to fairly significant alcohol strength, bigger than standard beers, though usually not as strong or as rich as barley wine. Often tilted towards a maltier balance, it should be a warming beer of the type that is best drunk in half pints by a warm fire on a cold winter's night.
It's good beer.
So what I get from that is that this is a session barley wine.
Yeah.
If
About
there is
half
such a
pint,
thing.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
7%? 7.4?
Yeah.
So is this something that's done normally where you would write something phonetically like that, OWD?
Not traditionally, but
No.
I mean, it's a fairly.
That's tasty.
It's an old beer, you know. So it's a traditional
like
beer.
it
It's
is.
been
I like
around
this a
for
lot.
quite some time.
Oh,
Well, that's really good.
Oh,
That is
my
really good.
God.
Oh God, that's really good. Isn't
I
it?
have to,
oh,
That is
how would
fantastic.
you go about making something that tastes like this?
Oh, it's my God.
Well, you start off with some water.
Well, all right. Water. Okay,
Yeah.
let me get a pen
barley,
here.
hops,
Yeah.
and
You
yeast.
start with your water edition, yeah. Now, to me, what I've judged old ales a lot of times before, and I've never really kind of gotten a good feel for exactly
Right.
what it's supposed to mean until right now when we're reading it in this context. And I do think it sounds like it's just a lower strength barley wine.
English
Really?
barley wine.
Yeah,
But this one definitely has a lot more, like, I don't know, dark character.
it
think
does have a lot of dark
it
fruit
does.
character to it, but it doesn't taste oxidized. Is the thing. A lot of
right.
times,
No.
I think the ones I've tasted has been
Old.
something along the lines of a barley wine or something like that. That's old. Yeah,
Well-
that you let it sit forever and it starts to take on those oxidation notes and that kind of thing.
I think typically that's in there.
So
Which I don't particularly care for these type of
Sherry.
flavors once they oxidize because the raisin or plum flavor starts to really come out in them and I don't like that old raisin flavor that
Right.
I think
You
is
like
Yeah,
old
well-
plum favors.
You're not.
I think it's one of those things that a lot of these beers for years were gotten and drank when they were past their prime, and people started to think that's the flavor that should have been in there, and that's
Well,
how they
half of us
brewed them.
probably couldn't drink anymore.
Well, it's
so let me
We're
let me
way
read
much
past
of
our
the
prime.
the dominance of how it's described with the sherry-like flavors, the paper characteristics, oxidation, things like that. That's usually where it comes in. As in this thing, old ale means like this has been stored. You know, so
yeah. So let
typically,
me read the next few paragraphs here in the BJCP guidelines. The history says historically an aged ale used as stock ales for blending or enjoyed its full strength. These
You all right
are
there?
at least two definite types in Britain today: weaker draft ones that are similar to milds around 4.5 and stronger ones at about 6 to 8 more %. Characteristic ingredients composition varies, although generally similar to British strong ales. The age character is the biggest driver of the final style profile.
I gotta say, this may be my favorite beer tonight.
I do like this
Yeah,
one a lot.
it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Definitely agree there.
old Raja.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do like it a lot, and I like it because I feel like the complex flavors that are in there are
But it's-
intentional.
yeah, but it
and-
still has
and they're
hop
kind of
character
they're
and
kind of
everything.
bright and it tastes fresh, which is odd to say about. I think this old ale is great because it tastes fresh.
yeah, right.
But that's what it is. It feels like
It's
the
very
flavors that are in here are intentional. They're not just
It's very
old musty-ass
complex.
beer,
There's
you
a
know.
lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Another example of this beer that people may be familiar with is Theakston's Old Peculiar.
Theakston, yeah.
Yeah. So-
That's the one that you usually find, I think.
Yeah.
That's the most.
But
easy
I
to
think
get.
that one's contract brewed out of a brewery out of Maine, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that we get here.
Right.
Old Peculiar.
Because that one is
Mistaken.
not that hard to find here.
No, you can find it normally in World Market or somewhere like that.
Yeah, it's the same people that make Old Thumper,
Okay.
or they contract brew that one too.
Gotcha.
Which
And I think-
that one's not. What's the name of that brewery that makes Old Thumper?
yeah.
That's,
What the hell is it?
what
It's
is
I can't remember. Oh, it's golly, what is 1187? Ringwood.
Ringwood.
You know that guy looks a lot
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
Ringwood,
Pirates
that's
from
it.
Pirate of the Caribbean.
Caribarian.
Yes.
Pirates
Sorry.
of the Caribarian.
Thank you for picking that up.
And you're too young to remember the Care Bears too. That's the
No, I
shame
remember
of
the
it
Care
all.
Bears.
Oh, do you?
How
All right.
dare you, sir?
All right, all right. I guess they did have a resurgence.
Just because I don't have gray in my beard.
Well,
Yet.
Yet.
if you remember the Care Bears, you should have gray in your beard.
Care Bear
you know,
power.
as we get into these, as we're reading through the British Strong Ale and the Old Ale and that kind of thing, it occurs to me that there's not a lot of difference between
No, there aren't.
all of these. It's
not.
almost like, why did we break these into different categories? So what would differentiate in your mind? I mean, we've got all the way down to, what was it,
I think it's flavor
5.5% alcohol on this one. So
It's flavor profiles, really.
do you
I mean,
think that-
about a wee heavy, a barley wine, an old ale, and then the strong ale, which is anything that's not really in the
really,
bitter
I'm talking
range or
about old ale
ESB.
and strong ale. Do you feel like it's that darker character
I
and,
think
and the
it's
complexity that makes
I
it
think
more
you're
the
talking
old
about
ale?
like a lot more of the treacle dark fruit characteristics.
There's a lot
plus,
of dark fruit characters.
Plus,
in this
when
Yes,
you get
there
the
is,
ones
yeah.
that taste like what most people consider an old ale, it does have that
you know what this reminds me of?
papery,
Kind of.
oxidated quality.
This kind of reminds me of like a double.
Yeah,
But
it does.
But
You're
with
right.
a little more hop character, and
A lot more
Engli-
body.
And no
English
yeast character.
and English yeast
Yeah,
character. Yeah. I'd be surprised if the grain bill would be much different.
Yeah.
Than
Like
say
just using a different yeast and different hops.
yeah. I mean, you could probably get away with that. I think. I mean, it's really you get that maybe not quite as much dark fruit or you don't get the candy sugar flavor, but
See, here again, this is a very drinkable beer too.
Right.
They keep the body on these light and drinkable,
okay.
and they're dried out.
I haven't had it in a
It's
while,
like
but
a dark
the
garnet
old
color.
peculiar is actually more of a pale ale, isn't it?
No, it's dark.
Okay, that's one.
It's-
Okay, because
it's
I know I've
almost
had
black.
old ales that are like they're more in that amber pale range. So that's what I was thinking of.
but this does. I mean, I would be surprised if this doesn't have like the 120 or a 150 caramel.
Oh
crystal
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
malt.
yeah, I agree.
It's
So
it's pretty strong.
this next beer I'm passing around, I've got high hopes for. I've never tasted it, never seen it until this last trip to England. But it's Shepherd Neame Brewery, the oldest brewery in the country, apparently. Most people know Shepherd Neame through Spitfire. You may also know it through
Okay,
Bishop's
yeah.
Finger. They do several fantastic beers.
The
Steady.
Bishop's finger.
Bishop's Finger. Anyway, this is their 1698 strong ale. Never tasted it, never sniffed it, never sampled it at all.
You never sniffed your
No.
bishop's finger?
No,
Nice.
you gotta move on, Stubby. You gotta move
No,
on.
no, that one was perfect. I'm
That was
sorry,
good
that one was
timing,
perfect.
yeah.
I'm going to say, as a sitting Catholic here, I don't feel as upset about that one because you're talking about British and they're not
If-
Catholic.
If this is not good, I'm gonna be really hurt.
It's good.
That's David Brand.
Yeah.
Which one is this?
This is Shepherd Neame 1698.
16.
Oh, that's
Kentish
really
strong
tasty.
ale.
That's really excellent.
Yeah.
A lot of hop character in it, kind of an assertive bitterness, I think,
Yeah.
and then also a lot of good hop flavor to it.
I'm getting the hop flavor. I'm not getting a lot of the bitterness for it. I get the muted malty
That's good.
flavor.
Six
I
point
like that a lot.
6.5%. Again, it would
You
probably
get that
fall
kind of
into
minerally character. in
Yeah.
this strong
Yeah.
ale.
Yeah,
you're right.
minerally.
Maybe a real. It's not. That's not Thames Valley though, right, Kent? That's
No, it's on the other side. Thames Valley is traditionally on the west side of London.
okay.
Kent is on the southeast side.
I'm kind of curious to see what their water profile would be.
We could
A
find
very-
that out.
Yeah, because
Sure we could.
I would imagine it's probably pretty hard.
In
to-
fact,
Hard.
that would be a great water profile to use for English bitters because lots and lots of great beers come out from that corner of the country.
Could you hold
Yeah.
it up for me so I can see it again?
No.
Damn it.
This beer makes me think of
1690.
okay as a strong ale.
Second.
You got another one loaded in your bag?
Mark wants more.
Yeah,
Speaks.
the request is that we have more of this, and unfortunately we don't.
Man, that was really good.
But yeah, it's a fantastic beer.
This one makes me think if this were a bigger, stronger
Boy.
beer, like the amplified version of this, plus it had some age on it. That's like some old ales that I've had.
Right.
As this makes me think of that, like a bigger version of this, aged, possibly even with a tiny hint of, Brett character that came in the background, like the old school style of it, make me think of an old ale. I think that's usually the problem with
Boy,
some of these.
They just keep getting better. I'm afraid to see
Well,
whatever you pull it.
we haven't got many
Save
left.
the right
so
ones for
there's
last.
going to be an end. So
Like the wedding feast
Mark's
at
just
Cana.
pulled up some information on this Kentish Strong Ale, this Shepherd Neame 1698. First brewed in 1998 as a special at 10.5% ABV.
Woo! It's not 10 now, is it?
To celebrate Shepherd
Okay.
Neame's tricentenary. A cask version at 4.5% was also released, and a pasteurized bottle regular at 6.5%. Relaunched in 2005 as a bottle conditioned ale at 6.5% at 1698.
Man, that's 6.5.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow, it don't
That's
taste that big.
phenomenal.
No, it doesn't. It tastes it.
You could get
4.5.
trashed on this beer. in a
I plan-
hurry.
I
So
I'm
you
not
know
doing
how Miller is triple hopped.
Yeah.
This one's thrice hopped.
right.
Thrice, yes, thrice hop.
So they're from Thrice?
Is it the same
Thrice
hopping
hopped during the
Filtration?
brewing process. This adds rich resinous notes and spikes of a citrus to a Moorish strong ale.
There you go, Moorish.
Ripe
There you
with
go.
notes of licorice, marsala wine, caramel, and spicy orange.
I
Is
don't
this
get
like
licorice.
Beware the
A
Moors?
frisson
Look at that word.
of dark fruit.
When was the last
He's
time
like,
you?
look at it!
When was the last time you used frisson?
I've never seen or heard that word before in my life.
Do you want to know the truth? Neither have I.
All right. All right.
Well, we don't feel so bad now, right?
I appreciate your frisson of honesty.
I'm sure you
not
used
sure.
that correctly.
I'm not sure that's appropriate, but hey.
Well, it says a frisson of dark fruit, which makes me think it means a lot.
Like a
Actually,
plethora?
Actually, it could be because it is a
Plethora
sudden,
pinata.
strong
Large
feeling
dash
of
of-
excitement or fear. Or
There you go.
A thrill.
Ah,
Did you get a frisson from that?
He gets a thrill every time he sees you.
Served with smoked
Oh,
cheese.
there was a frisson.
Now, this specifically says to serve it with smoked cheese, and I see no cheese. There's no
Damn
cheese.
you, Nigel.
There's plenty.
Frisson denied.
There's plenty.
Yeah,
of,
where's our Cotswold?
We're trying to have a society
plenty of
here.
cheese in this room.
Yeah, I was cutting it earlier.
Lift your right
Is
arm.
it smoked
Hey,
cheese, though?
lift your right arm and sniff.
I'm clean, dude.
In the other room,
That
that's
smells
smoked
like
cheese.
tacos.
That must be Chris.
I smell like fresh apparel.
Tacos.
Peril.
All right, next.
It's a new sweatshirt.
Yes, next. Adnam's Tally Ho,
What-
perhaps?
If you rush into it, you've only got two left.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Mm,
All right.
It's coming
so,
to an
I
end.
know.
Time check, maybe?
Sadness.
yes, the next one will be Adnam's Tally Ho.
He just put on his dad hat right there.
There you go.
Hold
Now
on.
there's
hold
only two
on.
left
There's
if you
only two
rush
left.
into it.
I'm still enjoying this one.
Adnam's Tally Ho is a commercial example of an
I
English
drank
barley
the
wine.
shit out of that one.
That one was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what makes that an old ale.
That one was not. That
I'm
was
not.
just a
No,
strong.
I don't think that it was classed as an English strong ale as far as.
Oh,
When you
okay,
walk back
okay.
in, I was saying that one, if you beat this up and let it age and actually came in some of those characteristics, this is a lot like a lot of old ales that I've had from other examples that are not English, I guess, the paler version. This is, that
Man.
last beer is what
You
this
know, the
would taste
old
like
ales
if you
I've
boosted
had
this. That's old
They've
ale
all been
territory.
big, old, heavy.
Nasty.
You
You know what I think too? People.
I've had dry.
Have you ever judged them before?
Yeah,
I think
I have.
people put old ass IPAs and shit in there.
I think you're right. I
Brandon.
agree.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, they're all nasty. I think they think old ale, and they're like, oh well, I got an old IPA.
I've had this
that's-
one for a year and a half
That's
because
too-
it sucks and I won't drink it. So
Yeah.
All right, so this is Adnam's Tally Ho. So it's a commercial example as far as the BJCP concerned.
Oh,
Tally Ho and all that rot.
Tally Ho as an English barley wine. There are two small bottles going around. If there are any left, bring it back in this direction.
There should be
Well,
some left. yeah.
don't you guys call your thing tallywhackers?
My
Your
thing,
thing?
Yeah, or no, y'all willies.
And
Willie, your
my
willy.
thang.
Your willy.
so those
My
are tally
thing.
whackers,
Your
and these
thing.
are tally hoes. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that like
Your
is that
groove,
what-
your
what
groove
happens?
thing.
That's what
All right,
happens when
there's
you
plenty.
drink.
So pass it around.
I thought that's when you took the purple pill and you go tally ho.
I thought the
Purple?
purple pill
Hello.
was for acid reduction or something.
I mean, purple pill. That might be the generic
Next-
one.
Oh,
but
so
normally
the
the
they're
next
blue
year-
bomber, the blue bomber, right?
Right.
Normally
Okay.
they're blue when you buy them direct.
Tallywhacker has been known to be a euphemism for penis. Yes.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
So tally ho is
Tally
a
ho.
penis
So,
forward.
so this says an unashamedly strong winter warmer. They're not ashamed of the fact that it's strong.
Right. Nor a winter warmer.
7.2%.
There you go.
It's no wonder we won the war.
Oh, come on.
That wasn't a war. That was a skirmish.
Okay.
Just so
Would
you
you
know,
agree?
just so you know, Brandon is now cut out of the last beer, which happens,
Oh, come on,
which
man.
happens to be a Bateman's.
Hey,
I
question
thought,
though.
I'm the
Now-
one who called an end to the Australian thing.
Apparently,
No.
yeah, but
Nigel-
then you relit the fuse.
This is the only one I've seen tonight that actually has the UK units on it.
No, they all do.
They've all got them.
Yeah, they all have them.
Yeah.
Earlier,
The only ones that didn't were the ones that I bought over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the UK
those
units.
are
They're
the ones
my
I didn't
favorite.
get to
dude.
see.
Raw
earlier.
winter warmer.
Raw winter warmer.
That's what it tastes
It's
like.
very close. Yeah, you're right. Raw is a
Very
little
close.
roastier.
Yeah.
They put some more dark malt
But
in
to
there.
me, that's what that tastes like right
Throw a
there.
bottle back here.
Similar
and I'll put it in the
ABV?
camera.
Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah.
It's thinner too,
Yeah.
body wise.
Well, it's lower in alcohol too.
I know, but like,
Man, I
it's
wish
definitely
I wish
thinner
I'd have
body.
brought some of that over in the shop to
Well,
try
yeah.
against this.
So you can run up
You
there
let
and
us
get
all
some.
down. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, it really
Go get it.
tastes really similar to this to me.
We'll wait.
See where
Yeah,
you're-
we can hang around. We've got
Which?
nothing going on.
Which what is in that recipe?
I don't know.
water.
Tell me.
Water
Yeah.
is the main
Water,
ingredient.
yes.
Yeah.
There's some
Barley,
yeast in there.
hops, yeast.
Yeah.
And as someone was saying earlier on the live, it's definitely wet water.
Right. It's
Yes.
wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've
We
got-
we use plenty wet water.
An extra H2O
We prefer
addition.
to use
yeah.
water extract,
Right.
the dry water.
Yeah, you just have to
extract.
add water to rehydrate it, right?
the dry water extract.
Powdered water.
Okay, so this one to me
$12 a
has
pound.
the most. I mean, this one to me is more closely like a stout. I mean, it's a lot more rose
Or a
character
porter.
or dark. Yeah, porter.
Yeah, I don't know if it gets in far enough into that range.
The body's too light for stout, but
Well, you know what I mean.
And I don't get roast out of it at all.
You don't.
No, I don't.
To me, it's a little
brown
roasty.
porter range maybe.
You know what I
Maybe,
see?
yeah, like a brown porter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
Maybe
it's
some more
not
in the
sweet
bottom
enough to be a brown porter. I don't think, but that's just me.
Anyway.
This is the one that is
Tally ho!
most like what I expected us to drink tonight.
Tally ho!
Pip pop, tally ho, and all that rot.
Is there any more in that one?
No, there was
He
more
wants
in the
some
one I
more.
gave you.
Tally
well,
ho!
that's empty now.
Tally ho! He drinks another one. You give you an old Rodgerin.
Hey, steady.
A proper
Steady,
rogering.
Steady.
You were the one that got drilled yesterday.
If you can
Whoa,
see on camera
hey.
right now, his face has got
To
a
the
little
hilt?
more
In a
red
bowling
than it
alley.
was earlier.
To the hilt?
Yes.
Oh, in the bowling alley. Oh, we
Yes.
got some bowling trash talk going on now.
He got
Yes, he did. My balls got
He
drilled.
did.
Quite right. Quite right.
My
It
bowling
gets
balls.
so weird in here sometimes.
Yeah, that got
Deep
weird.
cuts here.
Yeah.
Yeah, real weird. Balls drilling,
I tell you what, that's a great beer
plums
too,
and
though.
raisins.
Yeah, this is a great beer, and this is more what I expected we were going to see more of tonight.
Yeah.
In terms of winter warmers and strong ales and that kind of thing, this is
Even the Christmas beers, I was kind of picturing more of these with some sort of added one
yeah.
spice.
No,
like
you're right,
one
yeah.
spice instead of multiple spices. You know,
This
those
to
kind of
me
things.
tastes more like the raw winter warmer than anything we've had tonight.
it's
Yeah.
very, very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which to me speaks to the authenticity of the raw beer more than anything.
right.
And this also might be the least like drinkable. Not that it's not drinkable, but compared to the others, this one has a little heavier body to it. I
Like
think.
to come back to again and again type of.
No, I just mean it doesn't go down as easy. It's a
No,
little
this-
heavier.
this
You
one's
sip
more of
on
a-
it a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Guess what?
It's
You
more
could
of a
barrel
drink
age
beer.
this one and it'd be amazing, probably.
You could what?
Yeah.
You could barrel age this one. And
Oh
it'd be
yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
absolutely.
All the others ones are really
Bourbon
thin.
barrel
You
aged?
can drink several in a night.
I
This
hate
one
beers that go
is-
down easy anyway.
Right now, I
Which
think
is
to
weird.
me the old ale's my favorite.
But the women, you know. it's all
Right.
good.
Well, that's a different subject.
Careful, Deep Ellum got in big trouble for that
There
crap.
goes
But-
5% of our audience right there.
What I would say,
Wouldn't it, they got sued for that or something, didn't they?
No, just some dipshit reporter from Austin
Yeah, and
wrote a bunch
that's
of
when
shit about him.
and that's when their sales went through the freaking roof.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So-
they said the Dallas
They were
Blonde, it
they were
goes down.
promoting rape culture because their Dallas Blonde said it goes down,
down
easy.
easy.
I thought that's the
Ooh,
opposite
yeah.
of rape.
yeah, right.
That's the exact
That's
opposite.
that's voluntary, right?
Yeah, it's as voluntary as it gets, right?
Right. But moving swiftly on. So
Thank you,
Yes,
Nigel.
please.
Please.
Thank you,
to
Nigel.
Move
talk
it along.
to talk about your point of this is what you would expect more of, what you were thinking we were going to get more of tonight. The demographic in England would suggest that beers are sold between 4 and 6%. Even the winter warmers, even the Christmas beers, even the specialty beers and the seasonal beers, they all kind of fit in between that 4 and 6% because that's what people drink in England.
And I think they're right on with that philosophy, actually. We could use a little more of that here, I think.
Right. Anything outside of that is only going to get drunk by one or two people, either on a... the
hobos.
That either well, not so much the hobos, but either the guys that are looking out to get really drunk really quick, or the people that know what they're drinking and they're going to pick and choose and take it steady and enjoy what they're drinking. It's not for the mass market. The mass market in England would be 4 to 6%. And
because they're sitting down and having several of them at one time, and there's a social component to it, right?
And I say 4 to 6, and it's actually 3.5 to 6. You know.
Yeah.
Then why didn't you say that?
Because I didn't consider mild and ordinary bitters in that, and I should have done, and I discriminated, and I'm sorry for those people.
All right. Well, we accept your apology.
Well, thank you. So there are occasionally idiots that want to drink 7, 8, 9% beers, and hey, I was there.
They all live in Belgium.
No, they drink they drink Tennant Super, and they drink Carlsberg Export, and they drink all sorts of loony brews. Loony brews. You know
loony soup.
Kind of, but they're 7, 8, 9, 10% beers, and they have 2 or 3 of them, and they're done for the night. You know,
bollocks.
Yes.
2, 3 done for the night? This is just terrible.
You mean prunes? I mean raisins.
Yeah, raisins.
Plums.
Bollocks, prunes and raisins.
Well, screw everything else.
Prunes and raisins.
Okay,
Prunes and raisins.
Brandon was already banned from the last beer, and now you all have followed suit.
I don't know how I got banned.
So I'm going to drink the last one by myself.
Well, be very descriptive, sir.
No, probably not. Now I'm going to sit here in silence and let you watch me. The last one I have is another Bateman's beer. Back in the 90s, there was another family turmoil in the Bateman's family, and the family, part of the family that won the brewery, decided to brew a beer in celebration of that, and they called it Victory Ale.
Oh, so they're sticking it to them.
Yeah, kind of.
Nice.
Now,
the other one's Black Sheep.
The other one was Theakston's and Black Sheep, yes, and Black Sheep said, okay.
But that split into two. This is one side of the family got the brewery.
That's right, yes.
And then they brewed a beer to rub it in their face. I love it.
That side of the family, were they originally the master part of the family?
I don't know too much of who were the good guys and the bad guys. Yeah. All I know is, since then, the guys that won the brewery, to me, have been the good guys because they've produced Triple XB.
Fair enough.
I think it's a lot more fun to think that they're the good guys and
they have produced,
we should all like that they're rubbing their faces in it with this beer.
And they have produced this beer called Victory Ale, and it is exceptional.
That'll potty train them.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Where did that go?
You're talking about rub their face in it.
What?
So they're like dogs, is what you're saying.
Okay, so
not children.
That was a hell of a non sequitur there.
I got a little lost for a minute.
They currently use flagon barley, Flagon flagon. I'm guessing
that's like cigarettes.
Whoa! No! I'm guessing it's just a pale malt. Man, that disappeared quick. I was hoping for more of that.
Flagon, isn't that like a big deal of
like a flagon of ale?
That's what I was thinking. Flagon of ale. It's like a
big old mug, right?
Yeah, like a big. What do you get for the trophies at Bluebonnet?
A Woody
Stein.
A Stein, like a Stein without a lid is a flagon.
I don't know about that.
This is considered a winter warmer and old ale.
I think
that's really good.
This may actually just be considered as a strong bitter.
Strong bitter? Okay.
I think it's 6%, 6.2. I think the bottle says.
It's six even is what the bottle says.
Okay. Yeah. Pale malt.
See now, this says it was
5% crystal malt. English Goldings, American Liberty hops.
Oh, really? This says it was brewed to celebrate Admiral Nelson and his crew.
That's not what I understood.
I guess they just have to say that, right?
Right.
But in reality, they're sticking it to them.
That's
Yeah,
for
I think so.
Americans.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe it's my nose is broken.
Probably. Have you been punching it lately?
When you smell this, does it smell like a wet dog?
No.
No, not like my
No,
dog. At
not
least.
at all.
My nose
I
is
wish my
broken.
dog smelled like this.
What have you been doing to your dog?
Dog bollocks.
So square fermentation too.
That's
Open
another.
square.
That's another beer.
Yeah.
The Yorkshire squares for these, right? That's
This
the
is
thing,
really
this.
good.
Yorkshire Squares for the Sam Smith's beers. Similar type deal for this kind of thing. Yeah.
No, that's actually different.
They talk about primary fermentation is the beer matured at 12 degrees centigrade. So that's about 70 degrees, 60 degrees.
Okay, so I have to read this here.
That's a 10-degree difference, Nigel.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to do the calculation in my head, and I failed miserably.
Bateman's are a great
there's an after-
family brewers. They put family brewers in big red letters on this beer. So that's where they're sticking it
There's
to
a
it.
whole lot of rubbing it in there.
Who have been brewing beer in their windmill on the beautiful bank of the River Steeping in Lincolnshire since 1874. Visit the fantastic Victorian brew house, sit by the river, enjoy the food and the beer, play the old pub games, discover the 4,500 bottle beer collection, and investigate the fascinating exhibits. Fun for all the family. Try our other great Bateman's beers. So there's Dark Lord, Triple XB, Mocha Combined Harvest, and Christmas Rosy Nosy.
So I got
Nosy,
it for you
nosy.
here, Nigel.
Yeah,
it's
couldn't-
18 degrees Fahrenheit
And a
is,
Dark
Thank
Lord.
you.
10 degrees Celsius different.
Plus,
Christmas Rosy Nosy.
Yeah, Rosie
and Dark
knows-
Lord. Yeah.
Right,
Also,
we've had the
do you
Dark
think
Lord,
that they
haven't
have
Have we?
cheese boards?
Well, there's
Probably.
somebody. What was it New Holland? No, who is it that makes Dark Lord?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's what
Yeah.
I'm
Three
thinking of.
Floyds makes
Three
Dark
Floyds.
Lord.
Three
Yeah.
Floyds.
They
Yeah,
make
Dark
Dark
Lord,
Lord.
yeah.
Lord.
Dark-
Lord.
Not the
Lord
Sith,
Doyle.
then.
Dark Lord.
I thought it was the Sith.
Dark Lord Day.
Anyway, Bateman's.
Is rubbing it in.
Masters.
In their
No,
Christmas Rosy Nosy.
They had an interview with their head brewer.
It's not as good as rubbing it out.
I give up.
It depends on who you are and who you're rubbing it into.
You're broken, Nigel.
George Bateman in 1986, gave him permission to brew a beer, talking about the fact that George and his immediate family had won control from the other members of the Bateman family, and he brewed Victory.
Does it have victory malt in it?
No.
It's really a shame.
What it has is pale malt and 5% crystal malt, topped with American Liberty hops and
And I would
English
bet you
Goldens.
money it was like a Crystal 120, a really dark crystal malt.
Yeah, maybe so.
Well, only 5%. I would say, probably.
Apparently, hops and fruit dominate the palate, while the finish has sappy malt, tart fruit, and lingering hop bitterness.
Yeah. It's solid description.
Lots of jubblies.
Lots of
Jubblies.
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 And that's all
Lots
the
of
beer
fruit,
I got.
right? Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I got to say, the second half of that was
So much better.
way, way better. And
Everything was
just
solid.
Everything was
Yeah.
solid. Just a fantastic lineup of beers. And once again, we go through a bunch of English beers, and the one thing that I'm really struck by is the drinkability of them and the balance. And that's what it is with English beers, is they're designed for you to sit down and have several of them, and they go down easy.
Well, and I think you nailed it on the head last week. I think really is when you said that they really preface themselves and really accentuate the malt flavors.
Yeah.
The malt is a big part
The
of
base
the
malt.
flavor.
The base malt
The base
in
malt.
particular, yeah.
Well, and I think even the crystal malts for that matter, but I just think that they make sure that malt flavor is coming through. And I have to say it's a way different malt flavor than what you're going to get from
Yes.
like a when you're going to get from like a like an American malt flavor. You know, it's just
Yeah,
I
no,
think
you're
that-
100% right about that.
You
yeah.
just get a lot different flavor, and I can't say that there's anything like Golden Promise or Maris Otter or
No, you're right.
Even and we were talking about this week a lot, and I think there's a huge difference between, let's say, a Maris Otter, because I think Maris Otter quite often gets overused for certain things, and for example, I think if you're going to do like a small English bitter, and this will be some great questions for when the guys from Muntons comes in, because I think I'd like to talk to him about usage of different things in English beer. Because I think Maris Otter is probably too much of a powerful flavor to go in just like an ordinary bitter or a premium bitter or ESB. Maybe you can use it in an ESB.
See, I think it's perfect for that kind of thing because it's so difficult to get a good substantial malt flavor in a 3.5% beer.
Yeah, but I think you could get that with the pale, with just an English pale malt. But
I personally think Maris Otter's got its place, but I don't think it's everywhere in English beers.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want it in a porter. I don't think
No.
you'd want it in a stout. I don't think you'd want it in a mild. I think it's got its place, but it's only in certain styles of beer. If you go too much with Maris Otter, you're going to get too bready.
Well, that's the thing is that beers where you're talking about a lot of base malt because the alcohol content is higher and it's just more of a substantial beer.
Right.
That's where I think you can overdo Maris Otter.
Right.
Well,
I think in the 3.5% and 4% and 5% beers, that's exactly what it's designed for.
I think your ordinary bitters,
yeah,
your
is
best
to
bitters,
get that malt flavor in there when you don't have as
probably-
much malt to use.
Yeah, your ESBs. But other than that, I don't know if I would rather use pale malt rather than Maris Otter.
Well, I can just say this from the ESBs and pale ales that I've done over the years. To me, Maris Otter can be a little overpowering. I think it's a little too much, and I don't know. To me, it's about that balance, and I think that richness almost throws it off a little bit. But that's just me personally, and I've done better without it. So it is what it is. I mean, you can experiment and try it. I think a lot of guys are using Golden Promise, which
I like Golden Promise a lot.
Golden Promise is a lot different than Maris Otter. So
I like it. I tend to have gone away from it.
yeah,
I think
You've brewed some great beers with it.
yeah, I do. I have, but thank you. But I think I've also transitioned into a bit of Maris Otter, and I think that
I
helps
like it
that out
better.
too.
And I think that Irex
Pale.
pale malt
Yeah.
is a lot like a Maris Otter to
Right.
me.
Right.
It's along the same lines. It's maybe not quite as bold of a flavor,
right.
but it's a similar flavor, and that's one of the things I love about
Well, I
it.
think
It's
you're
like
just
a
getting
really
that
great utility
European
malt.
flavor. European flavor. I think is what you're getting from that. But that would be a good experiment. Do the exact same bitter, and do it with Maris Otter, Golden Promise, and just an English pale malt or
Yeah,
That'd
that
be a
would be
great
good.
experiment.
or like a Propino or something like that, just to kind of get
Propane?
Propino. That's like
You know,
A protein
I
bag.
think we decided we weren't going to do
Okay,
propane
I was going to say
anymore,
we did
right?
the propane episode, right?
only on purpose.
No, I think that there's lots of different other English varietals too that you can get besides just Propino. So yeah,
Yeah,
we need to try, I think we
so-
need to do that.
I think it's a good experiment. Pale malt, Maris Otter, Golden Promise. That's
I
a
think
great
that'd be a
experiment.
great experiment.
Yeah. So it does appear as though I got another trip to England coming up in September.
Okay.
What's
So that means you're bringing your beer back?
more than likely, as long as you're nice to me between now and then.
I
We're gonna
think,
be
I
very
think
nice to you.
instead of just being nice, we should throw a little cash your way.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that
too.
will work too. I mean,
A couple pounds.
the only real
Of cash?
style that I don't consider that I've ever brought back is porters and stouts. I don't know how readily
Oh.
available they are in bottles,
Man,
but I think that's
that would be great.
probably
Yeah,
the next.
fucking porters, dude.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some actual English porters.
What did you say?
Vomit.
But I think that's probably the glaring miss that we've had so far is
Yeah,
and
porters would
stouts.
be-
I think in terms of recipe development, that would be a really great discussion to talk about the porters and stouts.
Yeah,
coming from over
because to
there.
me, I mean, porters are kind of an English thing, and I think the only things we really get here are American or
Right.
robust porters. We
Yeah.
don't really get English style porters here much.
The only other thing we haven't really discussed is English IPAs, but they're so
Yeah.
so
Well,
much
so if
blended
you-
in with
yeah.
with English best
Pales,
bidders and
yeah.
pales and stuff like that. So it's going to be difficult to distinguish between the two. But I think
Green King makes an IPA.
yes, they do.
Well, he
Yeah,
brought
I
that
was
one
gonna say
before.
IPA.
I
I
did.
know, but they have one that's aged in barrels that's really fantastic.
The
You can
one,
find that one.
the one beer of Green King I was going to bring you is their Green King Abbott Export. It's fantastic, and I just don't think you've earned it yet. So
Probably not. Probably
Well
not.
said, sir. Well said.
but stouts and porters will be the next target.
That'd be great, and I think that'll be great from a recipe development standpoint too.
Oh yeah,
so.
I agree.
So in future episodes, we're going to talk to the guys from Muntin Malts and have some chats with pro brewers, hit up a few more listener requests, and get into some experiments. So keep listening. Again, be sure to check out our Patreon account at patreon.com/Come and Brew It Radio to help support the show. We have $2, $5, $10, and $20 options because every little bit counts. Please, we want to reward you while you keep the show going. Get involved and improve it.
Plus, we want to
Yeah,
reward
plus,
you.
yeah. Thanks again for listening to Come and Brew It Radio. Be sure to share with your friends on social media. Give us some ratings on iTunes and Stitcher. And send any ideas or comments to info@texasbrewinginc.com. Also, you can always check in on the brew days of the guys at their Brew Focus Facebook pages at Brew with Stubby, Brew with Brando, Brew with Mikey B, Brew with Chris, Brew with Greg, and maybe Brew with Nigel.
Maybe.
Nigel's just throwing
And
shit
with that,
around now. So.
Yeah.
Come and brew it.
Come and brew it. Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you, Nigel.
Thanks, Nigel.
Prunes and raisins.
Plums and raisins.
Plums, not prunes.
It's like plums in a velvet.
Isn't that what? That's kind of like a wrinkly ass raisin.
What's that?
A prune. It's like it's like a
A
raisin.
prune
don't have
is
headphones on anymore.
prune is a shriveled plum,
I go through.
whereas a shriveled grape is a raisin.
Yeah.
Yes, we.
They may not have plums over there.
They might not have plums because they have
So
to
they just
shrivel.
should just
and they-
not use the word.